Welcome to another episode of Routes Through Pokemon Adventures. I'm Shea Locke.
I'm Ruby.
And together we are a father and daughter duo journeying through the main series of Pokemon video games, the Pokemon anime, and the Pokemon Adventures manga. And this week we will be covering 8 episodes of the Pokemon anime and 1 chapter of the manga, which should catch us up to Mahogany Town's gym. But before we get into the episode, let's catch up on what's been going on. Anything interesting for you, Ruby?
Not much, I don't think.
Well, good. Then I'll talk about myself. So,
So self-centered. I did do a raid the other day.
Of course you did. Tell us all about it.
Okay, so the very fine details. I went to the hospital to get an x-ray on my foot because I sprained it, but...
Oh yeah, did we even talk about that?
Oh, probably not. Okay, so I sprained my foot, y'all. It's fine now.
Well, it's not completely healed yet.
I'm walking on it, though.
Which maybe you shouldn't.
It's fine. I'll survive. It's better now than it was a couple days ago.
That's for sure.
When I was still walking on it, which I kind of regret, but it was also worth it.
So anyway, you went to get an x-ray on it.
Yes, went to get an x-ray to see if it was broken, but it was just sprained. And on the way home, I was with my little brother and then my mom, and he wanted to do Pokestops and stuff, so we did a bunch of Pokestops and a couple of gyms, but also a raid.
Yeah, but he missed out on that one, didn't he? Because something was being funky with his game.
But the thing it was like 10 seconds left
Yeah.
as we were pulling up. And so we got in and it kicked him out, but we couldn't really get out because it was already over for him.
Yeah.
So we did it and we defeated it. Felt bad for him.
Yeah, that's a bummer.
I'm trying to remember what exactly it was. I could probably look it up. It's probably like a big Drampa or something. It wasn't like an awesome Pokemon. It was cool.
Hey, some people like Drampa.
Well, I don't think it was like that cool.
I can't even picture Drampa right now.
He's like the guy with the hair in front of his eyes and stuff.
Oh, that
like
kind of dragon?
Almost.
It's a dragon, I think.
But yeah, we did that, which was fun. I'm glad we defeated it. But I think that's about it.
Yeah, as far as my Pokemon Go stuff is, I got myself a shiny Shuckle. That was exciting. Spoopy's the Bellsprout.
Oh, I know.
But yeah, it's very blue, though, as it looked more little like purple in the anime. But I had heard that it's supposed to be blue, so...
I was right, it was Drampa.
Oh, good.
Yeah, that's what he looks like.
Yeah, I know what he looks like.
Okay.
When you described it, I was like, oh yeah. So yeah, shiny Shuckle, that was exciting. And been catching a lot of the Pokemon Horizons stuff, so like a lot more Captain Pikachu, and then the Florigato with the hat. And taking pictures and seeing all the gang show up in them is always fun again. We haven't watched any more Pokemon Horizons, but you know.
I got a notification that the next part came out, and I'm like, we're not even there yet.
And then I had backed a Kickstarter a bit ago, and I recently just got the shipment, and been going through the rules and getting it all organized, but I got the Boss Monster collection, so... And I did the whole thing with the big box, so it can all be in one box together as opposed to all their little boxes. So that's kind of fun. Hopefully they'll get it on the table soon, because we used to have just a couple... We had the original Boss Monster game and some of the expansions, and we did enjoy playing it a little bit, but then there was a point where I had to purge a lot of the board games, and I got rid of those too, which all worked out, because now I could just back this thing and get everything, so...
I don't remember playing it. You said we played it, but...
Yeah, your mom liked it, so we played it a few times.
Well, I'm excited to try it out. See what happens.
Well, this one's new. It'll have some new features to it, because they added things, because this is Super Boss Monster.
Yeah, and you usually tell me about all the games you're backing or kickstarting and stuff, and so when me and Mom were walking inside, we saw a box with your name on it and looked like it was probably a game of some sort. I was like, maybe Daddy ordered a game, and then I walked into your room one day and I saw it on the the bed, and I was like, what game did he get?
Well, I mean, I did tell people about this when I was doing it, including you, I'm pretty sure, but it was a while ago, because it takes a little bit for these things to finish up, so...
That's true.
And it was brief. It wasn't like one of the ones where I'm talking about it constantly. We're testing it out on Tabletop Simulator, things like that, so...
Well, it will certainly be interesting to try out.
Yeah. I had something else I wanted to say about it, and I don't remember.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay. Anyway, I think that's about all I got. And we have plenty of episodes to get through to get us all caught up to that ice gym. So, let's go ahead and jump into the episodes. We start off with episode 233, or season 5, episode 22. Do's and Don'ts, or Rakuto Danto Daribado, or Rocket Dan and Delibird. So this episode has Ash and Co. run into Team Rocket right away, and they're dressed as football players with a field goal right in the middle of the path.
It was a really weird start, in my opinion.
Yeah, you were kind of lost for a bit, weren't you?
I was like, why are we, did the last episode end with something like this? What is going on?
So Team Rocket kicks things off with a modified motto.
Prepare for trouble, don't drop the ball.
And make it double with an offsides call.
To protect our team, we won't call it quits.
We'll unite our runners with a 4th down blitz.
To denounce the evils of an 8th round pick.
To extend our reach with a 3-point kick.
Jessie.
James.
Team Rocket does one for the Gipper at the speed of light.
No timeouts, the clock's running, so let's fight, fight, fight. Touchdown, that's right! And then Team Rocket sends a bomb football towards the gang with a timer, and the gang kicks it back, and it goes back and forth over the field goal post as if it was like a volleyball net or something.
It was kind of funny.
But then Pikachu zaps Team Rocket when it's coming their way again, so they can't hit it, and it explodes on them, sending them blasting off again! Ding!
Yeah, James was getting ready to kick it, but then Pikachu zapped him, and then it landed.
And that's how we begin our newest Team Rocket-centric episode. After the credits, Team Rocket crashes into the woods and tries to figure out why they keep losing to the twerps. They hold a meeting and end up blaming each other constantly and get into a fight. They wander off weary and then suddenly find a Delibird inside a weird cage with a speaker. The announcement from the speaker says they are welcome to have the Delibird if they can catch it. Team Rocket tries and they battle it and fight over who gets to catch it. During the fight, we get a distracted Pokemon with Victory Bell, and while they continue to fight over catching it, the Delibird is returned to its Pokeball, and an old lady says it's hers and that the trio just passed a test. Apparently, she is a Team Rocket talent scout, so we have a mark for Teeming Rocket.
Oh yeah, that would be.
Yep, another Team Rocket person, and we see more. They're not necessarily present to everybody, but the one lady's involved enough that I think it would count anyway.
Her and the smoothie.
The lady doesn't believe the trio are members of Team Rocket, especially because their uniforms don't match, and we find out that they wear white because it's a stylistic choice of theirs. Fashion, which we know they're all about, so. And then the lady says she has seen plenty of fake Team Rocket people roaming the countryside, and I had to wonder if that would include Attila and Hun, since their outfits aren't the normal black uniforms either.
Maybe.
Anyway, the lady looks up the trio, and she finds that they have astronomical debts, and Team Rocket has been cutting back. And so, the trio had been terminated from the ranks of Team Rocket. They just didn't know it.
Wait, they got terminated? I thought their thing just expired, like their membership or whatever.
They were cut. They weren't renewed, I guess, you could say.
Yeah, I thought, I didn't think they were fired. I thought they just...
It's an easier way to fire people. Just don't renew.
Oh, okay.
However, the lady wants to re-recruit them because they need new members thanks to coppers cracking down on Team Rocket. Which is good news for the trio because they are devastated about being deleted. And then we meet Wendy, a Team Rocket HR, so human resources individual, who sends the candidates to Giovanni when she gets the information. And Wendy recalls back in the training days with Jessie, and that Jess had Wendy take care of the bill for their fruit smoothies and claimed she'd pay her back, and never did. So Wendy is holding a grudge for what couldn't have been more than a couple bucks all these years.
Yeah, it was probably... I guess if it was really fancy, maybe pushing $5.
She tries to convince Giovanni not to reinstate them because of their debt, but Giovanni decides to reinstate them anyway so that the debt might be repaid. But if they cause too much trouble, then they'll be eliminated. And then we get our Who's That Pokemon trivia. This Pokemon uses paint to mark its territory. There's one more tiny exam for the trio to pass, and that's to battle a Pokemon trainer. And who happens to be walking by? Ash & Co. And so that's who the lady sends them to battle, but the recruiter does let them use her Delibird. So they call out to the gang and start their regular motto, but then Jessie delivers an irritating interruption that skips them ahead to their names, and then they jump to Meowthspark. Delibird delivers explosive gifts, and this event ends up with Ash & Co. on the run. Pikachu gets battered pretty bad. Later, Delibird finds the gang who are trying to hide, and delivers another gift to Pikachu, and it explodes, which would probably be the end of the poor Pokemon, but this one healed him, and his smile was hysterically menacing.
Oh, it was menacing.
So Pikachu zaps Team Rocket with thunder, and they go blasting off again! Ding! Despite losing, the recruiter says they're desperate and lets them into Team Rocket anyway. Wendy is not thrilled. The recruiter needs Delibird back, but she will allow the Delibird to be a direct deposit bird for their payments against their debt. Team Rocket don't care about repaying anything, but they plan to use Delibird to help them every time it arrives. And then they get more bills, including one for a smoothie, which Wendy is very happy to have provided.
And they're very confused by it.
Yes.
They're like, a smoothie?
And, like, we see Wendy by herself. She's like, justice is sweet, or something like that. And I was like, or revenge is sweet.
It was interesting.
And everyone is back on their way. Our Who's That Pokemon? It's Smeargle! And our tally, we had a modified motto, a distracted Pokemon, we had teeming Rocket, and an irritating interruption. Now to rank it.
I thought it was a funny episode, especially the fruit smoothie.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Maybe right above a Corsola Caper? Or is that too high?
It seems good.
Okay, that's where I'll put it then.
Alright, so Do's and Don'ts hits our number 7 out of 22.
And dues was spelled D-U-E because they had to pay money. They're dues.
Yes. Alright. Now we hit Season 5, Episode 23. Just Waiting on a Friend. Or Kiri no Naka no Kyukon. Or The Kyukon in the Fog. Alright, so now the gang are in some mountains and fog suddenly forms all around them, when it had been bright and sunny a moment before. And after some falling because they can't see, a girl shows up with a gorgeous Ninetales and a lantern that I noticed seemed dimmer than the Ninetales was. Like, you didn't even need the lantern because the Ninetales seemed to glow.
Oh. I thought the whole thing was a little bit sketchy from the start.
Oh, for sure.
It was all like, what is this?
Brock, of course, is captured by the woman's beauty, and her name is Lococo.
Because she's crazy?
She offers them all to stay at her home because it is dangerous to hike the mountains in the mist. Team Rocket see the gang and decide they're going to swipe Pikachu and that Ninetales. At the large castle that is Lococo's home, she brings everyone in. Team Rocket sneak in just before the large doors shut.
But when they're walking, it kind of just appears, which could be explained by the fog, like, oh, they can't see very well. But immediately I'm like, nope, this is definitely wrong.
Actually, by the conclusion, I think it was just a fog trick. Because it's always been, like, it's still there even at the end.
But it's much more ruined, so it's harder to see, I guess. Maybe not, maybe.
It does look different, but...
It's not as tall, but that could just be the fog, yeah.
The gang are offered a meal, and Ninetales has taken a great liking to Brock. Team Rocket find a room that is just filled with gold. No, wait, they're actually cookies. Lots of cookies. Brock wants to stay forever, and that makes the lady happy to hear. When Lococo and Ninetales leave, Misty sees a mirror in the corner, and Ninetales is in the mirror, but not Lococo. When she makes a comment about it, Ninetales glows and shuts the door of the mirror very quick, and the girl offers an excuse that it was fogged up or something. When Ninetales shows more affection toward Brock, he says it is because he used to have a Ninetales of his own at one point, but he doesn't. And I think this was probably just a mistake and that he meant he had a Vulpix.
Yeah, probably.
Misty asks about why Lococo lives by herself up in the mountains, and she explains the real owner left a few years ago on a journey, and when he didn't come back sooner, most of the staff left. So Lococo remains there to take care of the house and the Ninetales. Lococo asks if Brock will stay with her so she won't be alone anymore, and basically get married. He is super excited and goes to hug her, and goes right through her. So now Ash believes Misty and that this woman is a ghost. Brock is too infatuated or hypnotized to see the truth. Or maybe it's just his eyes are too tightly closed.
Well, slits aren't doing it anymore.
Ash even tells him to open his eyes at one point, which I thought was hilarious. Lococo is not pleased with Misty and Ash trying to get Brock out of there, and she has Ninetales use telekinesis or something, and it sends them out of the grounds. Team Rocket keeps exploring and finds a room packed with popcorn that goes flowing out. Brock is definitely in a trance, and Ash and Misty witness his clothes transform. So, to save Brock, they go snooping around the castle to get info. They find a picture of the original owner of Ninetales, and he looks a lot like Brock. Then they find his Pokeball, which is old-looking and resembles Sam's from the Celebi movie. Like, it has the weird little extra latch on it and stuff. And then Ash finds a journal about the owner leaving. So the lady was right. Lococo had said that he left. But it was 200 years ago. So the owner must be dead, and Lococo is a ghost.
She's a little cuckoo.
Ash plans to battle Ninetales and free Brock. And then we get our Who's That Pokemon trivia. This Pokemon can disguise itself as a tree. Meowth!
What?
He disguised himself as a stump once, at least.
And he just did a flower, a sunflower.
Oh yeah, he's been Sunflora twice. Hitting Ninetales with Water Gun destroys the illusion, and the castle is really run down. Lococo vanishes. Brock's clothes vanish. I mean, the fake clothes. He still has his normal clothes on. And Team Rocket finds out they're actually eating leaves.
At least they were like fresh, nice leaves. They weren't too bad.
And they give us a catching catchphrase with, "It looks like we cashed in our chips." Because they didn't like blast off or anything, but they said it like they say there. It looks like we're blasting off again or whatever. Ash and Co. want to get out, but Ninetales won't let them. They try to fight, but it isn't going well, and so Brock picks up the Pokeball and commands Ninetales to return. She seems only happy to do so for her quote-unquote owner. Lococo had been waiting for just that. Then Brock brings Ninetales back out for Lococo, the illusion that Ninetales is creating or something? I don't know. I got a little confused about what Lococo really was at this point then.
I think Lococo was supposed to be like was Ninetales, but also kept Ninetales company.
Right. But this is the weird part though. So Brock brings Ninetales back out because she was able to appear while Ninetales is back in the Pokeball. Because I agree with you. That's what most of this seems like. But then when Lococo's going to explain everything, Brock brings Ninetales out so Ninetales can also hear the story and understand what's going on.
I was also confused. I was like, wait, she is Ninetales? Huh?
Right?
Because she was like, my master and myself.
Well, she was a servant. Like a servant, you would call your master a master still.
I know, but like the way she kept talking about it made it sound like...
Agreed. Maybe Ninetales just has a bit of a split personality disorder.
Or maybe Brock brought Ninetales out for no reason.
Who knows? Apparently, the owner was only supposed to be gone a month originally. Over all the time waiting, Ninetales found that it couldn't leave the castle and its powers grew. Then, suddenly, Team Rocket nets Ninetales and begins their own tale with an interesting intro.
Prepare for trouble after what we've been eating.
And make it double with this special greeting. Before they can get to their names, however, Ash and Brock have an irritating interruption as they demand Team Rocket give back Ninetales. Team Rocket finished their motto anyway. And so, it is battle time, and Victory Bell is a distracted Pokemon. When Ninetales is free, Brock commands it in battle, and then it saves Brock from being hurt by Victory Bell, and the Pokeball that it used to belong inside is smashed into pieces. Finally, Ninetales, along with one of the other Pokemon that I don't remember who it was, blast Team Rocket and send them flying into the air, where James has a catching catchphrase when he says he wished they didn't have to blast off on an empty stomach. And they are blasting off again! Ding!
Ding! Well, they still ate leaves, so I mean, like, their stomach's not empty.
Without the Pokeball, Ninetales is free to leave and wanders off to live its life, and the illusion all fades away with Lococo Ninetales thanking them. A little bit of trivia about Brock and his comment about the Ninetales. Seems, like I said, to be a mistake, but in the game Pokemon Stadium, that version of Brock does have a Ninetales.
Oh.
And who's that Pokemon? It's Sudowoodo. And our tally, we have 2 catching catchphrases, an interesting intro, an irritating interruption, and a distracted Pokemon. Alright. I like a good ghost story.
Yeah, it was very interesting.
I liked the old-timey Pokeball, and the idea that Lococo was probably an extension of Ninetales' illusion, but also that, like, they didn't explicitly explain why Ninetales couldn't leave the grounds, but I'm pretty sure it was because the Pokeball was there. Mm-hmm. So when it broke, he was free, so that, like, having that connected was really cool, without being like, you were locked here because the Pokeball kept you here, but now it's broken, so now you're free. They just said now he's free. So, yeah, it was a really cool story. I don't know, I'm thinking maybe either above or below for Ho-Oh the Bell's Toll.
I think probably above it.
Okay. That puts us at number 9 out of 23. All right. And that brings us to Season 5, Episode 24. A Tyrogue Full of Trouble. Or Baroki to Karateo Nobuhiko. Or Balki and the Karate King Nobuhiko. So quick, one thing here is we've battled a trainer called the Karate King or Master or something once before. You know who he was?
That gym leader.
What gym leader?
The one on Cinewood, the fat one.
Cyanwood?
Yeah.
Nope. Fat one. He's not fat. No, the fighting dojo in Saffron City in Red and Blue.
Oh.
That gives us the Hitmonlee or Hitmonchan. He was known as the Karate King or Karate Master.
Oh, he was, wasn't he?
Yep. Well, all the other trainers there were like black belts, but he was like Karate Master or Karate King or something.
I remember that.
Okay, so Ash and Co. continue toward Mahogany Town and are going through a cave. I'm guessing Mount Mortar, because that's what we have to go through. I don't know if they ever say it in the show. And soon they run into a Tyrogue with some kind of torn cloth around its neck huddled next to the rocks. The Tyrogue looks like something is wrong, and so Brock offers it food. Instead, the Tyrogue steals Brock's backpack and runs off with a Mankey and Primeape helping Tyrogue out.
Did he steal the whole backpack or just a bunch of the food?
I think he grabbed the whole bag.
You could be right for sure.
Either way, he tried to steal everything.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to stop the rogue Tyrogue nearly gets the gang killed by falling rocks. Thankfully, a black belt and his Hitmonlee and Hitmonchan show up and break the rocks, saving them. And then this guy, whose name is Kyo, sees Ash's storm badge, and he says, "Hey, I'm Chuck's protege," which is where you get the storm badges from Chuck, the gym leader. Mm-hmm. And at this point, he even calls himself a black belt, which is an actual class of trainer that we've battled before. So that's cool.
Yeah, that's fun.
And apparently he's training for the P1 Grand Prix. I'm not sure what that must be, but the last time we heard P1 was the P1 Championship or tournament that Ash's Primeape took part in.
Yeah, that's what I immediately thought of.
Yeah.
Well, immediately anger struck because of the stupidity.
So I thought that was interesting, and I'm wondering if it's the same competition or they're just similar or whatever. Because, again, it's fighting-type Pokemon, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And this time, no Geodudes around.
I guess. I mean, it would make sense for there to be a Geodude for the fighting-type thing.
Kyo also explains that the Tyrogue is always causing trouble for travelers and the villagers that live nearby. And apparently, he's caused a lot of damage in town recently, and he causes a herd of Tauros to come stampeding in. The gang need to get out of the way, but we get some Togepi trouble as it follows a Butterfree completely oblivious to the danger coming in. And then Tyrogue actually rescues Togepi by putting it, swinging in, catching it, and bringing it back to the Tauros it's riding. And Kyo stops that Tauros long enough to get the Togepi back to Misty.
I was gonna ask if that was like a Big Brother Pikachu kind of moment when he saves Togepi.
Oh, the Tyrogue?
Yeah. Because didn't he play the role?
Do you want to count that?
I'm thinking it probably should count because he played the role, everything.
All right.
Perfectly.
All right. Don't let me forget to type that in later.
Okay.
I like it. So we get a Big Brother Pikachu moment too with Tyrogue. Team Rocket was spying on this whole Tauros situation, and they decide they want that Tyrogue on their team. The villagers want to get Officer Jenny involved to lock up the Tyrogue, but Kyo wants them to give him one more chance to help Tyrogue be better. Kyo explains to the gang that Tyrogue is an abandoned Pokemon. It had a trainer once, and that is why it doesn't like people, because it got abandoned. We then get a scene where Tyrogue helps other Pokemon get fruit from trees, so he obviously cares for and tries to take care of other Pokemon.
Just doesn't care for people.
Correct.
Me no like people.
Yes. Something Ruby used to say when she was very young.
I still say it sometimes.
Yeah, but as an amusing thing from before. You actually meant it back then. Then Team Rocket show up and try to recruit him, but he just pounds them and sends them blasting off again. Ding! Then we get our Who's That Pokemon trivia. This Pokemon evolves into Ariados.
Wow. I'm
stumped. I'm stumped.
Wow, this is super hard.
Kyo leads the gang to a favorite spot of Tyrogue's and challenges the Pokemon to a battle, where Tyrogue defeats both Hitmonchan and Hitmonlee. Then, after the battle, it seems Tyrogue might be starting to consider Kyo as more than just an untrustworthy human. But then he's snatched up by a rope while Team Rocket drops a modified motto.
Prepare for trouble as Tyrogue sails away.
And make it double, 'cause we really can't stay.
Pow! To protect the world with a mean right hook.
Wham! To unite all people with my kickboxer look.
To denounce the evils of honest fights.
To extend our arms and punch out your lights.
Jessie.
James.
And Team Rocket's the winner at the speed of a light.
So surrender at once, 'cause we've just won this fight. And they were dressed up as boxers for a good chunk of that. Then, as they float away in their balloon, they give us a catching catchphrase. Now this is a blast! Kyo chases Team Rocket down and leaps onto their balloon, where James gives us another catching catchphrase. Should we just prepare to blast off? Kyo punches a hole in the balloon, and it crashes, and Kyo rescues Tyrogue and takes the brunt of the fall to protect the Pokemon.
Yeah, and he just jumped up on the balloon and punched it. I was like, oh, Ash has never done that.
Yeah. Ash is not a black belt. Then a rock comes tumbling down that will crush Tyrogue, but Kyo catches it, protecting him again, and he gives him a speech about, warming up to people and letting the bitterness melt away or something to that effect.
Yep.
The gang show up and help Kyo, and a battle erupts with Team Rocket. This time it is Onyx that sends Team Rocket off again, where they shout, "Cue the blast line!"
Oh.
Kyo and Tyrogue battle again, this time man against Pokemon, and after proving himself, Tyrogue becomes Kyo's Pokemon. Who's that Pokemon? It's Spinarak. And we have a Togepi Trouble, a modified motto, 2 catching catchphrases, and an off again. Oh, and we also had a Big Brother Pikachu, apparently. Now, to rank it.
Well, I thought it was fun. Wasn't great and up there, but it was fun.
It was certainly enjoyable,
Maybe above throwing in the Noctowl?
Yeah, if you want it there, that's fine. I liked throwing in the Noctowl better, but I know it wasn't your favorite. So.
Well, let's see. Well, we can put it right under throwing in the Noctowl then. I don't know. If I don't like it later, I might use a Pokeball, but...
Sure.
For now.
And that makes that 19 out of 24. All right. So that brings us to Season 5, Episode 25, Zatu the Future! Definitely a play on the title, Back to the Future. Or, Netio no Daiogen, or Natio's Big Prediction. Oh, so Natu, I think Natu is the same, like basically what the name is in Japanese. I could be wrong, and so then it goes from whatever that is to Natio, which is really close.
I had to watch this episode twice because I turned it on, and then I kept dozing off and fell asleep. So I had to watch it again the next day.
It's kind of a weird one.
Yeah, I couldn't. You see why I fell asleep? I couldn't follow along very well.
Yeah, it's kind of all over the place a little bit. It feels like when you're watching it.
Yeah, it's like this, that.
So once again, Team Rocket is setting up a pit trap for the gang as they continue their journey to Mahogany Town. The gang expect a trap this time, and Ash even hops up and down to try and reveal it. Team Rocket thinks Ash broke it and comes to confront him about it, and after James hops on it, it finally breaks, sending them all plummeting down together. After they land in the very, very deep pit, the ground breaks again and they fall down into an underground hallway. A girl runs by and is in a rush, but she takes a moment to ask who they all are, so Jessie starts with an interesting intro.
Prepare for trouble and make it quick.
Then the girl rhymes that part of the intro with an irritating interruption. I don't have time for this silly shtick. And the gang have a lot of questions, and Brock is in love, but she doesn't have time to answer the questions, and she says they can just follow her. And then they end up in a room with 3 Zatu that are used by the people of that area to guide their lives with the fortune-telling. The girl, Callista, has 2 of the Zatu go with her outside to a crowd where the audience does a weird ceremony with fans that mimic the wings of the Zatu. Apparently they all use flag language to predict the weather, which is what is happening right then. But the prediction is kind of stupid because it allows for it to be right about the weather, whether it is sunny or raining.
Yeah, it's like it will do this and this unless this and this unless this or this happens.
Yep.
It's like, what?
Which makes it really weird then when they're all, like, the gang and Callista are surprised when it starts raining because they thought that the prediction meant that it was going to be sunny, which it sort of sounds like if you don't really listen carefully, I guess.
I don't know.
Callista retreats inside with the Zatu and must know if the rain is a sign of the day. Callista uses a computer to lift up an antenna that looks like a Zatu that is used for forecasting the weather. It is designed to look like a Zatu to trick the rest of the people that come for Zatu's predictions. Now, she has a way to predict the weather because the Zatu haven't been good about predicting the weather. So and later on she has a comment too that she's been using that to give people predictions about the weather without really using the Zatu then. But that doesn't line up with the fact that they were all surprised by Zatu's predictions then, unless she was just wrong herself earlier. Like, the plot actually doesn't make a lot of sense. Like, it seems to be contradicting itself all the time, which is part of the reason this episode was probably hard to follow.
Okay, so I'm glad it wasn't just me, because I was like, maybe I'm still tired.
I've watched it twice, and neither time was I falling asleep. It's just weird.
Okay, so it's just a wackadoo episode.
Yep. So Team Rocket crashes into the room that they're in with the weather detection stuff, and the Zatu detect that one of the people there can predict the weather. Apparently, Jessie used to be a weather girl. But it turns out this whole, excitement about this person that can predict the weather turns out to be not helpful at all and has no point or bearing on the rest of the episode. It was like, why did we point this out then?
And when they leave, Team Rocket's entertaining the crowd, and Jessie's like, I got this. I can always win at rock, paper, scissors. And she's like, make sure you all play paper. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. And she played scissors and won. And she's like, yes, I did it again.
Yep.
I was like, what?
Yeah, it was also pretty random. Anyway, so then the Zatu flap their wings some more, and it seems that they're saying, the day is coming tomorrow. The one that the girl Callista was afraid of. And there was a prediction that one day, a while back, there had been a prediction that one day a large flood would come through that area. And then we get our Who's That Pokemon trivia. This Pokemon has star patterns on its back. Callista goes out and tells everyone the flood is coming. They all flee and leave offerings of appreciation. Callista says they're more trouble than they're worth, and Jessie has a catching catchphrase when she says, "Some trouble," while greedily eyeing it up. Then suddenly, Delibird flies in. And I was wondering, do we need a count for this guy? I was thinking that he doesn't need his own count, probably, because I don't know how long he continues, but he does seem to be giving me some Jumpin' Jigglypuff vibes.
Oh, yeah. I think we could count that.
So, you think he's a Jumpin' Jigglypuff for us?
Yes.
Sweet. That's what I wanted to hear. So it's flying in to deliver a bill, and so the Team Rocket want to steal the offerings to help pay for it, but the gang try to stop them. So Team Rocket delivers a modified motto.
I predict you prepare for trouble.
The crystal ball says make it double.
To protect the future from devastation.
To unite all psychics within our nation.
To denounce the evils of non-belief.
To read our fortunes from a green tea leaf.
Jessie.
James.
Team Rocket searches for mystical truth at the speed of light.
Surrender now and tell me your sign, or prepare to fight. Team Rocket convinced Delibird to help in battle, otherwise it won't get the money, and so it throws explosive presents at the gang. Callista sends in the Xatu to battle. The Xatu dodged all the presents by predicting the future, and then caught the latest presents because they were the healing ones. Delibird drops a present right by Team Rocket by accident when it lands near them, and it explodes, sending Team Rocket blasting off again! Ding! Now that the Xatu feel better, they adjust their prediction that the flood is not coming tomorrow, but today. And then the Xatu explain that people shouldn't be ruled by their predictions, and they say their goodbyes as they teleport themselves and the gang away just before the flood comes in. And so when we catch up with the gang and Callista, they're saying goodbye to her, the Xatu are nowhere in sight, and she is going off to be a weather reporter. Whew! What a wacky, random, not sensical episode.
And it wasn't even like a funny wacky like Jenny was. It was just like that was rough.
Yeah, it felt really rough. Who's that Pokemon? It's Ledian. We have one interesting intro, one irritating interruption, a catching catchphrase, a jumpin' Jigglypuff with Delibird, and another modified motto. Now to rank it. Alright, Xatu the Future. I want it to be higher because it was a playoff of Back to the Future with the title, but this episode it really didn't do it for me. It is my least favorite, I think, of the season so far. So I'm proposing it goes under Taking It on the Chinchou.
I completely agree.
Perfect. So that makes Xatu the Future 25 out of 25.
There's this Asian beetle on my phone case and my cord, and he keeps going back and forth. It's like he's doing an exercise or something. Because I feel like he's doing the pattern or something.
All right. Season 5, episode 26. Talking About an Evolution, which is a playoff of Talking About a Revolution. Or Wataru to Akai Gyarados.
Ooh.
Or Wataru and the Red Gyarados. Because Akai is red.
Mm-hmm.
And in case you didn't know, Gyaradosu is Gyarados. I wonder what Wataru is. Do you think that's Lance's name in Japan?
Ooh, quite possibly.
Sorry, spoilers. Lance shows up.
How dare you spoil this?
Ash and the gang are getting close to Mahogany, and Ash can't wait to get his 6th badge? That's what he says. And I think the narrator even says his final badge. And they're both wrong. It's in the middle.
They're just confused.
So we have a weird dub mistake there, apparently. Pikachu and Togepi are not feeling well, and the gang are actually lost in the woods, which they haven't actually been lost in the woods for a while.
Lost in the woods.
Because Brock realizes they've been going in circles. And bugs show up, which is great fun for Misty. And then they hear roaring, so they go to see what it is, and arrive at a lake where a large red Gyarados emerges from inside, and he's raging around. Ash assumes it's red because it's angry.
What? I think I remember that.
But really, It's shiny! Shiny count! Misty also has issues with Gyarados as well as bugs we've seen before. Like, she likes water Pokemon, but whenever Gyarados is around, she's like, don't like those.
I mean, they're kind of freaky.
Understandable, yeah. So, but yeah, she's surrounded by bugs and Gyarados, not a good day for her. The gang decide to leave since the Gyarados attacks them, but when the gang turn around, they find that the place is teeming with rocket people. So yes, another teeming rocket. As a Bruiser and a few grunts block their path. The Bruiser unleashes a Fearow to battle, and Ash sends in Totodile. But as soon as he comes out, he is sick as well. Fearow goes in with a drill peck, but then it is blasted away, and we find the gang has been rescued by a guy with red spiky hair, a cape, and a Dragonite.
Fabulence!
That's right, it's Fabulence! Or, it's...
Fabulence.
I did. It's just Lance. He doesn't go by Fabulence. But I thought this was awesome because we finally get another of the Elite Four showing up, meaning we are only missing Agatha. We had Bruno forever ago with the Unexpected. We got Lorelei, although she went by Prima, in the Orange Islands episode that was banned because of Jinx. And we have Lance. And he's showing up at the Lake of Rage, just like in the game, where Team Rocket is doing weird things with signals, just like in the game. So this is a really cool episode as far as the games are concerned, including the shiny Gyarados, which isn't, according to the anime.
Yeah, it's like, because they're trying to evolve Pokemon on purpose, which we already know from everything else. And it's like newly being tested, so being forced to evolve made it red or something. It's like...
What they say is that they think that it kept its original coloring when it evolved. Like, part of its original coloring when it evolved, which is why it's red, because of the forced evolution instead of a natural evolution.
I hear it, but it's shiny.
It's just annoying that they gave that weird explanation when, in the game, it is just a shiny Gyarados.
Mm-hmm.
Or at least I think it is. Do they say it's shiny in the game? Maybe they don't. I don't know. Later on, they decide to make that the shiny version of Gyarados, though, so I don't know. Like, that's what it is in Pokemon Go.
Mm-hmm.
So Lance tells the gang to flee into the woods, and they do. After dealing with Rocket, Lance catches up with the gang, and the Pokemon are feeling better. And Lance explains that he's a Pokemon G-Man, and as part of the detective group, he has to deal with Team Rocket's evil deeds with Pokemon. Ash and Co. want to help, but Lance sends them off to Mahogany Town, saying, no, they can't. Too dangerous. Team Rocket Trio is hungry and stumble upon the Team Rocket headquarters with the radio signal tower that they're probably using to mess with the Pokemon. Inside the base, we find Professor Sebastian. Did you recognize him? The bad professor of this episode? Did you recognize him?
I can't picture him.
He was the same dude from the Raikou special.
Oh, nice.
And I think his voice and those two might be even the same. I don't know.
Ooh, fancy.
Yeah, I don't know if we ever got his name in the Raikou episode, but he was the same, art style for sure. So that was kind of cool. And Sebastian and the Team Rocket people need to lure Gyarados to the surface to get it. And so they decide to use the Rocket Trio who snuck in. And the Rocket Trio had found a bunch of Persian statues in this headquarters area that have cameras in them, just like the ones in the game in the Team Rocket headquarters, which was also awesome. But, of course, James touches one and a cage drops down and they're captured, which isn't how they work in the game.
It's fine.
So the Bruiser Rocket guy shows up and demands to know who the trio are, and so they answer with a modified motto.
Prepare for trouble and a nice surprise.
Make it double with an order of fries.
To protect our tummies from rumbling too much.
To enjoy our meals with a gourmet touch.
To denounce the evils of excessive hunger and thirst.
To consume so much food you think you might burst.
Jessie.
James.
Team Rocket blasts off in search of wonderful treats.
Surrender now or prepare to fork over tons of your sweets. Meow. Yeah, let's eat.
Interesting.
No, modified.
They're hungry, I think.
I think so. So the trio are fed and told they'll be famous when they go to help get the red Gyarados. Lance disguises himself as a rocket grunt and boards the boat they all are going out on. Ash and Co. decide they can't just go to Mahogany Town, and so they all go back to the Lake of Rage. And then we get our Who's That Pokemon trivia. This Pokemon uses a bone of its ancestors as a boomerang. Rocket Trio dives down to lure the Gyarados up to the surface, and they nearly get eaten. Gyarados and the trio are captured in a net that is electrified. As the Gyarados is being pulled away, the gang send in Pokemon to go free it. Seeing the Pokemon, Team Rocket unleashes the Evolution Inducement Wave, which makes the Pokemon sick, and so they are returned. Then the gang are all captured in bindings and taken to the headquarters. Gyarados is loaded into a truck, and a whole caravan is transporting it. Lance is driving one of the vehicles still in disguise, and the gang are left at the headquarters in prison, behind bars, with their Pokemon still feeling ill. To be continued.
And the reason they're transporting in a truck and stuff and not Pokeball is because they need it to stay wild.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
I don't remember if that happens in the next episode that they say that or not, but...
Our Who's That Pokemon? It's Marowak. And our tally, we have Shiny, even though they say it's not a shiny Pokemon.
It's really shiny.
Teeming Rocket, and a modified Motto. Now, to rank it.
Above Extreme Pokemon?
Definitely above Extreme Pokemon.
Okay. Maybe right below Nerves of Steelix?
Yeah, I think that's probably fine. It's a really cool episode, but we have a lot of good episodes, so...
Yeah, and some that just make no sense.
Honestly, most of this season is just really awesome.
I like how you say that right after we put the last episode at the bottom.
Yeah, that's why I said most. Talking about an evolution is number 14 out of 26. Now we move on to Season 5, Episode 27, Rage of Innocence, instead of Age of Innocence. Or, Akai Gyaradosu no Ikari, or Red Gyarados' Anger. So, after a recap of the last episode, we are back on the road with Team Rocket lugging Gyarados with them. Yeah. We won't be counting Teeming Rocket again for this, just like we did with the Lugia episodes, because they're all connected, so... We also learn the guy I keep calling like the bruiser, the big tough-looking rocket guy, his name is Tyson. Team Rocket plans to fly the Gyarados to the main headquarters, I'm guessing, on helicopters, and so Lance gives a call into Officer Jenny at Mahogany Town, informing her of the issue. Turns out, back at the radio tower base, Rocket Trio is in charge of guarding the gang's exit. But Rocket Trio opens the prison so they can nab the weakened Pikachu, which just allows the gang to get free when Ash uses a Rocket Trio trick of Smokescreen with his Cyndaquil. The trio almost catch up, but Lance rescues the gang again with his Dragonite. After Lance introduces himself to the trio, Jessie has a funny line about not caring if Lance is a G-Man, a Tree-Man, a He-Man, or a He-Man, but he is soon going to be an X-Man.
X-Men!
A little more battling, and Team Rocket is blasting off again! No ding.
A ring?
Nope. Lance destroys the machine in the base, just like he helps us do in the game, except that this time they're not being charged up by Electrode. Gyarados is being flown away, but it wakes up and thrashes around, making it hard for the two copters to stay steady, and they crash into the river, where Gyarados is freed and starts to rain down destruction on nearby buildings. The gang and Lance need to stop Gyarados, but then Tyson and Rocket show up, and he sends his grunts to go after the Gyarados. So Lance and Tyson get ready to battle, while the gang rush off to help Gyarados. And we get our Who's That Pokemon trivia. This Pokemon can just barely fly above the ground.
It's a Pudgy Pidgey!
They can't fly at all.
I mean, they could jump.
Tyson tosses in 2 Fearow to battle, and Lance uses his Dragonite. All of Tyson's Fearow use must make him the kind of person that could be Ruby's best friend.
I mean, if he just went and got the Fearow out of a store or something. Now, if he evolved it, then no. He had the first one. The he who must not be named.
Spearow.
No! How dare you?
Spearow.
No! Shut up!
Susie.
I don't like any Susies anymore.
I should, with all this talk, I have a feeling one of her Spearows is going to be named Susie in the future. Rocket grunts get Gyarados in a net again and shock him again. Ash sends him Bayleaf to cut the net with Razor Leaf. Then Gyarados blasts off those Team Rocket grunts. Ding! And it collapses, tired and hurt.
It was kind of funny how the grunts, went off. They didn't say we're blasting off or anything. They just went...
Yeah,
ding.
But they got shot off into the distance. Then another net snags Gyarados, and this one is from a balloon, and we're caught up in an interesting intro.
Prepare for trouble, or you shall be caught.
And make it double with the net we've brought. Ash grabs onto the net and rides along with Rocket Trio's attempted escape. They try to shake him off, and when it doesn't work, they try to dip him into the river with the Gyarados, which revives the Pokemon. And then there was a funny couple of lines.
He's ruining our Gyarados napping.
And when the Gyarados wakes up...
Our Gyarados!
Is it napping?
Interesting.
Yeah, Gyarados napping, like kidnapping.
Yeah, it's funny.
So the Gyarados breaks free and sends the balloon crashing on the beach. Then Gyarados rushes off in anger, and a battle starts between Rocket Trio and the gang. With a Thunderbolt, Team Rocket is blasting off again! Ding! Dragonite defeats Tyson, and Jenny and the officers show up to arrest him. Ash makes it to a bridge where Gyarados would have to cross, and he tries to calm down the Pokemon. But instead, it tries to blast Ash and Co., and they are rescued again, but this time by a grumpy old man using his Dugong's Ice Beam, which also freezes up the river in front of the bridge so the Gyarados can't continue. And this old man looked rather familiar, and he claims it is foolish to try to be friends with Pokemon, as that's not how it's meant to be. And I wondered, did you recognize the voice actor for this character?
Mm-mm.
It's Gary. That's not who was here, but it's Gary's voice.
Seriously?
Definitely.
That's hilarious.
So then the gang follow Gyarados back upriver, where Lance is battling it with Dragonite. Ash wants him to stop, but Lance says battling him is the only way to save him. After winning, Lance captures Gyarados, likely planning on training him. The rest of the Rocket Grunts are arrested and carted off, and Lance and the gang say goodbye. Our who's that Pokemon? It's Dunsparce. And our tally is just one interesting intro. So I think this one goes right next to the other one. They were a great combo together.
Okay.
I really enjoyed it. I think this one might be lower because they just repeated the net catching multiple times a lot. But there was other stuff too that was fun.
Sounds good.
All right. And then we move on to Season 5, Episode 28. As Cold as Pryce. You're as cold as Pryce. You're willing to sacrifice our love. Or, Inomu to Fuyu no Yanagi. Or, Inomu and Yanagi of the Winter. I think Yanagi is probably Pryce, because I think Inomu is probably the Pokemon. But I could be wrong. And I know Fuyu is Winter. Ash and Co. have made it to Mahogany Town, and he's ready to win the Glacier Badge. But notice, the Japanese title of this episode does not mention the gym, so this can't be the gym battle episode.
There's usually 2 episodes for these things.
Yeah, but every time he fights in a gym battle, they mention the gym name and everything.
Jimu.
At the gym gates, he finds out from a woman named Sheila that Pryce is up in the mountains meditating under a waterfall like he does every morning. I think one of the people in the video game in the gym mentions this too, that he does that. Team Rocket is spying on them, knowing the gang was going to show up at the gym. They decide to follow, as they follow Sheila. But the gang are struggling to keep up with Sheila. And
she's intense.
She kind of reminds me of your mom when she's all pepped up. Like, have you ever tried to, follow her or keep up with what she's doing when she's just on a mission and got energy?
That's fair.
It's very challenging. So then, when we see Pryce, Ash realizes they met him already. He's the one with the dugong that saved them from Gyarados' blast last episode, with more continuity all over the place here.
Yeah, I was pretty sure it was Pryce when we saw him.
Well, he looked just like him, so... Team Rocket is also very exhausted from trying to follow everyone. Pryce is annoyed that Ash and Pikachu are buddies and that Pikachu isn't in his Pokeball. The feelings Ash has with his Pokemon makes Pryce decide battling Ash would be a waste of time. But Ash wants to prove himself, so they decide to battle right there in the mountains, and if Ash wins, then he can have a gym battle.
Another stupid thing.
To add to his stupidity, Ash chooses Phanpy, which is weak to ice and water type moves.
Go Ash, go Ash.
Misty and Brock even mention the ice weakness, which I thought was cool, but it's after Ash loses. They tried to tell him before, but he wasn't listening to them.
Ash not listening?
I know, shocker. So Ash tries to follow Pryce, because Pryce just leaves, and he loses him. He also ends up separated from Pikachu, because of all the thick trees and bushes and stuff. They can't see each other, and even the Team Rocket trio can't seem to find each other, which is really funny. And there's like a weird little scene where they keep popping their heads out of bushes, and like Meowth goes up a tree, but like they keep disappearing before the other one comes out looking for him and stuff.
Yeah, that was funny.
It was a really weird sequence. However, Jessie finds Ash and starts the motto, and James says his part, and then Jessie and James have an irritating interruption when they realize they are next to each other and exchange greetings. It's like, oh, hello. Hi.
It was, yeah, that part was funny. They started saying, and then, oh, hello, hi.
It was so funny. And then Pikachu arrives, and then Team Rocket continues with a muddled middle and outstanding outro.
To protect the world from woodland pests.
To capture creatures from their nests.
To ensnare Pikachu in my net.
And anything else we can get.
Jessie.
James.
Team Rocket grabs the goods at the speed of light.
Surrender to me, give up trying to flee, or we'll fight. So Team Rocket rush in with nets to grab Pikachu and trip over a rock and crash. Ash reaches the edge of a cliff and is cornered by Team Rocket, but Pryce shows up calling Team Rocket idiots for trying to steal others' Pokemon. A battle starts, but then the cliff breaks and Pryce, Ash, and Pikachu fall.
To their deaths. The end.
Noctowl and Totodile help save them from death.
Oh.
Brock, Misty, and Sheila find Team Rocket arguing at the edge of the cliff, and Meowth reveals what happened to Ash and Pryce by accident after the others flee, and then he flees. So Brock and them try to figure out how to help those that fell, and Sheila knows where they can climb down easier. Pryce helps Totodile recover after it depleted its energy using Water Gun to save Ash, to slow their fall. Sheila explains to the other group that Pryce used to be fun-loving, but when his heart went cold and he started specializing in ice Pokemon, he got the nickname Icy Pryce. Then she leaps down the new part of the cliff with her rope, and we get our Who's That Pokemon trivia. This Pokemon is composed of 3 Magnemite. And it actually says it's composed of 3 Magnemites, but you don't pluralize Pokemon names. Even though I do that sometimes. Sometimes I even say Pokemons, which is also very wrong.
Very, very wrong.
Trying to find a way out, Ash and Pryce end up at a cave entrance and find something that used to belong to a Piloswine Pryce used to have. Sheila explains to the others that Pryce's Piloswine was treated like family by Pryce until it up and left one day. Then Pryce explains he was like Ash once, and there was a battle with a Magmar, and Piloswine got burned. Before it could be finished off, Pryce leapt in the way, and he was burned greatly as well. Laying in bed next to Piloswine, he apologized, and the wounded Pokemon got up and walked right out the door, even though Pryce had tried to protect him. That's why Pryce's heart went hard. Then in an icy section of the cave, that sparkles like crystal, they find Pryce's Piloswine trapped in ice with an herb meant for healing burns. Turns out Piloswine was trying to help and has been trapped for years. It's kind of tragic, really. But at least...
I was like ready to cry. I'm like, what?
But at least it wasn't dead. Because when Cyndaquil melts the ice, Piloswine is free and Pikachu zaps it into recovery. And Pryce's heart melts. Then they reunite with everyone else, and Team Rocket shows up with James and Meowth offering a catching catchphrase. So prepare for another miracle on ice. We have a battle, and Piloswine hits hard. Pikachu ends with a zap, and Team Rocket is blasting off again. Ding! Yeesh. Then Ash and Pryce decide to battle in the morning. And who's that Pokemon? It's Magneton. And we had an irritating interruption, a muddled middle, an outstanding outro, and a catching catchphrase. Now to rank it.
It was so sad to me, but also interesting.
Yeah, it was a really cool story. And that super tragic that they were separated for so long, but then they got to have that fixed, and Pryce's heart got fixed, which was good.
Mm-hmm.
And that we got a glimpse of him being grumpy and his ideas in the episode prior to it, which was cool as well.
Uh-huh. I think it goes above a promise is a promise, at least.
Agreed.
Let's go above around the whirlpool?
Above around the whirlpool?
Is that too high? I don't know. You didn't give me anything. You liked that one a lot.
I liked it a decent amount, yeah. There's good stuff there, but yeah, we can go above around the whirlpool.
Okay.
I was just surprised. We were talking about a promise is a promise, and the around the whirlpool was a lot higher. All right, As Gold as Pryce is now our new number 6 out of 28. And now for the final episode this week, Season 5, Episode 29. Nice Pryce, baby. Do 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 do. Ice, ice, baby. Do 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 do. Ding ding. All right. Or Choji Jimu, Kori no Tatakai. Or Choji Gym, Ice Battle. See? Told you. Gym and battle. It's all there. All right. So, Ash is gearing up for his battle with Pryce and claims he has the perfect plan of attack. But when asked for details, he doesn't give them. Pryce is at the gym with all his water and ice Pokemon and getting his Piloswine ready for the battle. When Ash arrives, Team Rocket is spying on them and they decide to sneak into the gym. They're going to steal all the quote-unquote ice-type Pokemon while the battle's going on. Inside, the arena is all covered in ice, except for a section in the middle that is where there's a pool of water. Before the match can get started, Sheila takes up her position as a judge so the match can go ahead. Each trainer will get to use 2 Pokemon. The challenger, Ash, can use a substitute, but not the gym leader. Kind of like with the Orange Island Championship battle.
Mm-hmm.
Pryce starts with Dugong, and when Ash sends out Cyndaquil, Misty warns Ash that Dugong is ice and water. Good call, good call. Cyndaquil gets covered in ice, but it breaks out by heating up and melting the ice. Then Ash sends Cyndaquil into the water. Pryce is sure Ash's strategy is off, but Ash knew what he was doing and allowed Dugong to get close and then hit it with Swift out of the water, then Flamethrower for the win. So now Pryce brings in Piloswine. Meanwhile, Team Rocket are going for their prize of ice Pokemon. But when they rush in, they slip on the ice and alert all the Pokemon who are not happy to see them.
Mm-hmm.
They surround them and send in ice beams, it looks like. We don't really know what it is, but they just shoot these Aurora ice beam looking moves. Then we get our Who's That Pokemon trivia. This Pokemon Stinger is poisonous. Back to the battle inside the gym, Piloswine uses Blizzard, which ends up freezing everything up in the area, which turns the pool into ice as well. And then Piloswine takes down Cyndaquil. So Ash brings in Pikachu. Not a great plan, since Piloswine is ice and ground. And we learn that it doesn't seem to be doing much of anything to Piloswine when Pikachu uses his moves. So now it becomes a game of dodge for Pikachu, and he utilizes the ice pillars so that Pikachu can change directions easy, which is kind of like the puzzle we have to use to get to Pryce.
Oh, interesting.
So they brought that element into the show. I thought that was cool.
Mm-hmm.
Then Pikachu shocks Piloswine from underneath the Pokemon, which does seem to affect it. Eventually, they break the ice and Piloswine is soaked by the water, and then Pikachu has a much more successful thunder attack. Both Pikachu and Piloswine are quite tuckered, but before Pikachu can go in for another attack, even though he looks like he's going to keel over any second, Pryce literally throws in the towel, and forfeits for Piloswine has been through enough. Ash wins the Glacier Badge and only has one badge left to go. And then Ash and Co. head off to Blackthorn City. But wait, what about Team Rocket? Well, they are frozen in a big block of ice. And it looks like we have an entertaining exit. Who's that Pokemon? It's Weedle. And our tally is 1 entertaining exit. The battle was a lot of fun. It was a really cool episode, but it was a battle, so I wasn't going to give you like a big old play-by-play kind of thing.
Yeah,
so,
it was interesting.
But there was Ash actually seemed like a good trainer during this battle, which was really cool. Often it seems like he's lucking out on things and stuff, but he actually knew what he was doing. And when things didn't go his way with like Pikachu, which, I mean, yeah, that was stupid that he used Pikachu against this Pokemon. But the rules there are always weird. But then he like adjusted his attack and what he was doing. Because, yeah, he was going to use agility a bunch, but the speed didn't work so well on the ice until he started using the pillars. So, I did enjoy that. And so I think I might put this just under Rage of Innocence, the 2 Gyarados episodes.
Okay, works for me.
All right, so then that makes Nice Pryce, baby, our number 17 out of 29. All right, so who's the standout Pokemon for you this week?
Oh, I think I know.
I think I have mine too. 3, 2, 1, Gyarados. He really was the best featured Pokemon throughout the whole thing, I think.
I was thinking maybe Piloswine, but not really.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I also liked how in the second Pryce episode, like, he was really treasuring his Piloswine and grooming it and stuff.
That was nice. All right, so with the anime out of the way, it is time to move on to the manga. Adventure 144, Savvy Swinub. All right. Coming back to the story with Suicune and Pryce and Whitney, all being covered by DJ Mary and the radio crew. We find that it is explained that whatever Pryce freezes remains frozen forever in walls of ice. Then Pryce explains the different ways Suicune beat 6 other gym leaders. Claire, Dragon, Chuck, the Fighting Gym, Morty, the Ghost Gym, Bugsy, the Bug Gym, and maybe Janine, but not a Johto leader, and Faulkner flying. So Whitney, Pryce, and Jasmine are the only Johto gym leaders left. So then Pryce and Whitney work together. Whitney listening and learning from Pryce as they battle Suicune. Whitney borrows Smeargle from Mary again in the middle of the match to paint an X on Suicune so they can find the real one when it creates mirror images of itself, because that was something it had done with one of the battles before. Claire, I think. Finally, they freeze Suicune in place, and Whitney goes in for the capture. But her Pokeball puts a hole right through the iced-up legendary Pokemon. And then Pryce explains that he fears Suicune will come to visit him someday. Not hopes so, as he has grown timid in his old age. So he's not actually looking forward to the battle. But he practices on fake versions of Suicune made of living ice statues, by using his other ice Pokemon to keep refreezing joints to make it look like the sculptures are moving. So this was all just practice. Mm-hmm. His ice Pokemon were also the ones mimicking Suicune's attacks, that means. The director, as they all leave the gorge, thinks that Pryce is the most knowledgeable gym leader and perhaps the perfect candidate for a special position in the Pokemon League. Then, when everyone's gone, Pryce works on the Suicune ice statue and talks to Swinub, saying that the truth is he is sure Suicune will never come to him, and for good reason. Then we hear on a radio that there was a warning about a whirlpool showing up near the Whirlpool Islands, and that it has been happening frequently lately. There is a flash of lightning, and somewhere in the sky is a Pokemon. And who does it look like?
Lugia?
Lugia. To be continued. And now it's time for Pokemon cards.
Yes.
Alright, I'm opening a Scarlet and Violet Obsidian Flames with Terastallized Dragonite.
I'm opening Scarlet and Violet Stellar Crown with a Terrestrial Cinderace. Cubone fighting. When the memory of its departed mother brings it to tears, its cries echo mournfully with the skull it wears on its head. Oh. Milcery, psychic. When attacked, it tackles its foe and covers them in cream. With its foe either blinded or astonished by deliciousness, Milcery flees. Glammeow, colorless. It claws it if displeased and purrs when affectionate. Its fickleness is very popular among some. Charjabug, electric. As it digests fallen leaves, it generates and stores electricity, which it can discharge from the tips of its jaws. Ooh. Crabominable. Evolves from Crabrawler. Water. Ability, food prep. Attacks used by this Pokemon cost 1 less for each Kofu card in your discard pile. Though its punches are powerful, this Pokemon's movements are sluggish. It blows icy bubbles from its mouth to immobilize its opponents. Item, trainer. Glass trumpet. Now I know I definitely got that last week. Talonflame. Evolves from Fletchinder. Colorless. Stage 2. When it gets excited, it vents sparks from the gap between its feathers. These unburnable feathers are used as a fireproof material. Ooh. Rare card. Pokemon Tool Trainer. Sparkling Crystal. Ace Spec.
Ace Spec card.
When the Terra Pokemon this card is attached to uses an attack, that attack costs 1 energy less. And that's like my first reverse holo. Then Pangodo evolves from Pancham. Dark. This Pokemon is quick to anger and it has no problem using its prodigious strength to get its way. It lives for duels against Obstagoon. Then my rare is Archaludon. Metal evolves from Duraludon. Ability, Metal Bridge. All of your Pokemon that have steel energy attached have no retreat cost. It digs on mountains searching for food. It's so durable that being caught in a cave-in won't phase it. Then a Fire-type energy.
Alright, I have Numel, Fire-type. Magma of almost 2200 degrees Fahrenheit courses through its body. When it grows cold, the magma hardens and slows it. Mawile, Psychic-type. It chomps with its gaping mouth. Its huge jaws are actually steel horns that have been transformed. Togedemaru, Metal. When it's in trouble, it curls into a ball, makes its fur spikes stand on end, and then discharges electricity indiscriminately. Greavard, Psychic-type. It is said that a dog Pokemon that died in the wild without ever interacting with a human was reborn as this Pokemon.
Huh.
Kangaskhan! Colorless type. There are records of a lost human child being raised by a childless Kangaskhan. Like that kid. Camerupt evolves from Numel, Fire-type. It lives in the crater of a volcano. It is well known that the humps on its back erupt every 10 years. Lapras, Water-type. Crossing icy seas is no issue for this cold-resistant Pokemon. Its smooth skin is a little too cool to the touch. My reverse holo is Dolliv, evolves from Smoliv. Dolliv shares its tasty, fresh-scented oil with others. This species has coexisted with humans since times long gone.
It's grass type, by the way.
Yes.
I figure you all could guess that.
Bronzor, my other reverse holo, metal type. An ancient people believed that the pattern on Bronzor's back contained a mysterious power. And my rare is Scovillain, evolves from Capsicid, grass type. Ability, double type. As long as this Pokemon is in play, it is grass and fire type. The redhead converts spicy chemicals into fire energy and blasts the surrounding area with a super spicy stream of flame. And then I have a basic water energy card. Alright, and so then that's our episode. Routes Through Pokemon is a Hunterfield Institute production. You can find us on Spotify, Amazon, and Apple, and other podcasting platforms. We are also on YouTube at the Hunterfield Institute channel. Just look for the Routes Through Pokemon playlist. And wherever you find us, go ahead and comment, and you can like, subscribe, rate, review. You can also get a hold of us through our email at hunterfieldmanor@gmail.com. And you can find me, Shaylock, posting on X at HunterfieldInns and Instagram at kinetic_card, where I also send things off to threads. And I often post, like twice a week, I have a Who's That Pokemon segment where I go over a Pokemon, just a little blurb about it and their Japanese name and stuff. On Facebook, I also continue to update our current tallies and episode rankings, which we have a huge uptick in modified models this week, which was really surprising, more than interesting intros. And now that we've caught up to the Ice Gym in the anime and manga, it is time for Ruby and I to play some more video games and try to make it to the 8th and final gym of the Johto region. Very exciting stuff. And that's what we'll be covering next week. So thank you so much for listening, and we will catch you on the next route. Bye-bye. Sayonara. Part 41. Fake Lightning.
V, come back!
The pale-furred Eevee didn't heed Violet's command, and was dashing through tall grass chasing something. The girl hadn't seen anything out there, but V had. Or at least, he had sensed a threat. Violet was sure Team Rocket had finally caught up with her, and were lurking out in that line of trees the Pokemon was headed toward. More drops of rain had landed on the girl, and she was sure she was about to get soaked. There was just no way she could make it to town before it got worse, not with her ankle still messed up from that fall. There was another flash of light without any follow-up thunder. Confused, she looked up at the sky and got a raindrop directly in her eye. She blinked and wiped at it, and then caught a glimpse of V again. He had stopped running toward the trees and was now looking around a little confused. His right ear twitched a couple of times, and then he turned to stare right at Violet. An unnerving feeling crept through Violet.
Why is V acting so odd?
She thought to herself.
And why is he just sitting there, staring at me?
It occurred to the girl that V wasn't staring at her, but at something behind her. Terrified, Violet slowly started to turn to face the threat lurking there, and she was met with a flash of light and nothing. V cried out, and Violet whirled back to see him rushing through the grass in a new direction.
What in the world is going on? She
wondered. Occasionally, there would be another fake lightning flash, and V would stop, look around, and head in another direction each time.
What's out there, V? What are you chasing?
The Eevee was too focused to offer any kind of response. Not that he would be able to communicate it to Violet anyway. The girl was feeling a little bit better, as whatever was happening probably had nothing to do with the Rocket Gang. Still, it was really odd.
Maybe he needs a little help.
Violet took her other Pokeballs and started releasing her flyers to help scope out the field.
Lucky, Pilot, Spur, spread out and help V.
The Zubat, Pidgey, and Spearow shot straight up into the air and then soared off in 3 different directions. Almost immediately there came cries from the trio, and the fake lightning flashes increased in frequency. Violet felt a sudden push of air beside her. She looked quick and caught only a brief glimpse of a yellowish color before there was another flash.
Wait, is that a Pokemon? It must be using teleport. And if it's a Pokemon, then... Lucky! Supersonic!
The Zubat swooped down and let out a shriek as it flew across the field.
Hopefully that confuses the thing,
Violet said. Then it was time to put the other 2 flyers to work.
Pilot, find whatever is out there and throw some sand in its eye. Spur, peck it.
Both of the Pokemon cried out in confirmation and circled around and managed a figure-8 pattern where they crossed each other in the center. There was another flash of light and V cried out. The Pidgey and Spearow shot down toward the target. Suddenly, there was a lot of sand kicked up in the air, and Spur let out a victory cry after making contact. Another flash of light, and whatever was teleporting around popped into existence right in front of Violet, knocking her into the air a couple of feet before she landed hard on her back in some tall grass. Blinking back some tears from the shock of pain, Violet tried to catch her breath so she could call out to her team again. Something rustled in the grass nearby, and suddenly a creature landed right on top of Violet. She let out a scream and swatted what she later realized was a Rattata off of her and right toward the yellow Pokemon that had knocked her over. There was another flash of light as the teleporting Pokemon was startled away. Only, it reappeared right in the same exact location, but facing away from Violet now. Violet could see now it was an Abra that had everyone in a tizzy, and she almost called for her team to attack again. Before sound left her open mouth, however, she realized she had an opportunity to try and catch it right there. Slowly, she pulled out one of her Pokeballs and sat up as quietly as she could. Violet pulled her arm back, lined up the shot, and just as she tossed the ball, V came running in and leapt at the Pokemon. It was gone in another flash of light. V and the ball met in the air, and it smacked the ball away from it, causing it to sail right back toward Violet, where it knocked her in the head.
Ow! V, come on!
Picking the ball back up, Violet got to her feet and started to scan for the Abra again, when there was another flash. She turned, only to hear a crack of thunder to accompany it, signaling that real lightning had come to join the party.
Great, this just keeps on getting better and better,
she said, rubbing her forehead where the ball had hit her. And then the rain came down. Hard. To be continued.